Today's video will be narrated by my late friend and brother, Rob Skiba.
Who can tell me what DC stands for? District of Columbia. So our country is ruled by the District of Columbia. Well, who's Columbia? Well, we walk over there to the Capitol building, and there's Columbia perched on top. Well, we walked into the Capitol building, and there's the original sculpture that the one on the roof was made from, right there. And we go into, this is in the visitor center, we go into the movie theater place there when they give you a little movie on the history of the making of the Capitol building. And it starts off by calling it the Temple of Liberty. And I turned to my wife, temple? Temples are for gods. Right? What God? Well, we just passed her in the hallway. Who is she? Who is Columbia? She is known as the Queen of Heaven. All throughout the scriptures, all throughout ancient history, throughout many cultures, she has many names. Semiramis being one of them. Ishtar, from which we get Easter. Isis, Columbia, Liberty, Diana, Venus. These are just a few of her names. Just like Nimrod, she's the wife of Nimrod, Semiramis. Cush had a daughter named Semiramis, whom he later married, his own daughter, and produced Nimrod. Okay, so that means that Semiramis is Nimrod's half-sister and mother. And then Nimrod turns around and marries Semiramis. So now his wife is also his half-sister and mother. You could walk into the Capitol Dome in Washington, D.C., look up into the womb of Isis, because that's what the Capitol Dome is, the womb of Isis, with the phallic symbol down the road of Osiris's missing piece, the Washington Monument. All right? This picture right here is called the apotheosis of George Washington. Look up in the Capitol Dome, and that's what you're going to see. Surrounded by 72, which is a high occult number, pentagrams, which are known as binding pentagrams. That's how the ancients believe they can, and the occult believes they can control demons. You got George right here in heaven. The apotheosis means ascending into godhood. That's what apotheosis means. Okay. If this is supposedly heaven, you might think you'd see, maybe the saints, see, Yeshua up there, see the angels, Michael, Gabriel. No, that's not what you see. You see Neptune, you see Vulcan, you see the Greek pantheon hanging up there with deified George in the Capitol building. And not to be outdone, when Abraham Lincoln died, they started putting out postcards and whatnot showing the apotheosis of Abraham Lincoln. I bet you've probably never seen this before. They've tucked it away. It used to be out in the outdoors. They put it inside a museum now. This is George Washington posing as a god. Which god? Zeus. This is a depiction of Zeus from the Temple of Zeus, which is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Also, it's the same pose as the occult symbol for Baphomet. Oh, this is a Christian nation. Yeah, okay. And if you look at the entire layout of Washington, D.C., it's all occult. Look at all the buildings. It's all after Greek mythology, too. But most notably, if you think about our founding of our nation, it's all about 13, isn't it? 13 colonies, 13 stripes, 13 stars, 13 this, 13 that, the Great Seal of the United States, 13 steps on the Great Pyramids, on the Great Seal of our... What the heck is an Egyptian pyramid doing on our currency in the first place? Right? What does that have to do with anything about our nation? Yeah. And by the way, that's not an eagle there either. Manly P. Hall, one of the most prolific writers of Freemasonry, says anytime they depict an eagle with a point on the back of its head, it's really a stylized phoenix. Aha, we fooled you. It's not an eagle. It's a phoenix. In Egyptian mythology, the phoenix was the Benu. The Benu was the dying and resurrecting soul bird of Osiris. Okay? 13 steps on the Great Seal's pyramid, 13 letters in the Latin phrase annuit coeptis, 13 letters in e pluribus unum, 13 stars above the eagle's head there in the shape of the Star of David, which has nothing to do with David. 13 bars on the shield, 13 leaves on the olive branches, 13 arrows, 13 original colonies, 13 stars, 13 stripes on the original Betsy Ross flag. Have you heard about the Betsy Ross flag? If you go look up on history.org, history.org just comes right out and tell you there's no evidence whatsoever that suggests that Betsy Ross had it, other than the fact that she was a flag maker. She did make flags. There's no evidence whatsoever that she's the originator of this design, even though that's one of the myths that we've all been taught growing up in school. History.org goes on to continue. We do, however, have a good idea about who originated the design.
Credit for that achievement may go to Francis Hopkinson, a New Jersey representative to the Continental Congress and signer of the Declaration of Independence. Hopkinson was a talented man with a strong interest in designing symbols. See, symbols conceal for those who don't have eyes to see, and they reveal for those who do have eyes to see, which means all of the iconography contained within a symbol has to harmonize with itself for it to have a coherent message. This guy is all about designing symbols. He's the guy that designed the Great Seal. Oh, okay, Great Seal. Pyramid of Egypt, Phoenix dying and resurrecting soul bird of Osiris, 13. He's the guy that designed our flag. I was in the Honor Guard, and I was the guy in the full dress blues, and I carried the American flag with tremendous pride. That was like a real honor for me to do that. And I took great care in doing it, trying to do everything right and be as sharp as I could be. I cannot even look at that thing anymore. And I certainly am not pledging allegiance to it. No. Sorry, love my country, but patriotism, at least the way it's currently defined, is idolatry. And if you really get into what that flag actually represents, especially going all the way back to its founding, I want nothing to do with it. You know, it's a lot for me to say this, that now I just can't do it.
We're trying to wake people up because there's going to be a deception that the scriptures say it's going to be so powerful that even the elect can be deceived by.
I am mystery. I am remnant. I do not mince words. I do not play games. I am sent.